Hey YouTube, Colorado Hunter Hiker here again. Let's get back in the swing of things. This is the second part of the series on my backcountry sleep system, which consists of my sleeping bag and pad, as well as a pillow, a shelter of some sort, and this, my sleeping bag. It's hard to hunt for several days in a row if you aren't sleeping well, so a good sleep system is key. Be sure to check out the other parts of this series on the videos on my channel, or better yet, subscribe so you get future videos. Now, I've tried all sorts of bags. Synthetic, down, mummy shaped, traditional rectangular bags. You name it, I've probably tried it. I used cheap bags, I've used heavy bags, lightweight bags, and really expensive bags. Now, they all have their place. But when you start looking at heading deep into the woods, you'll be wise to look around for a good down or synthetic bag. Spend the money here and you won't be kicking yourself later. Now before we go any further, I don't want this to start a down versus synthetic war on YouTube. They both have their place, trust me. Down compresses really well and has the best warmth to weight ratio. However, once down is wet, it loses a significant amount of its warmth and the bag really can ultimately end up ruined. To combat this, manufacturers are now coating the bags or the down, or both, to limit the effects of water on the down sleeping bag. Some work, some not so much. If you're going deep into the woods where you know it's going to be wet, I'd lean towards a synthetic bag. They aren't as good at compressing. They weigh a little bit more, but they sometimes can be had cheaper, and they battle wetness much more successfully than down bags. So, that said, as for the best combo for me of lightweight and on the cheaper end of the spectrum, and extremely packable, is this REI Igneo. This bag weighs under 2 pounds, well, just barely. I mean, this bag is packable. It fits in a Sea to Summit 8-liter dry bag, which really, frankly, everyone should own. I'll be doing a video on those bags later, so stay tuned. A quick tip, any bag that is coated, such as this, turn it inside out when you stuff it, so that the stuff sack doesn't rub off the coating. This may seem silly, but be sure to do it. It'll make the bag last a lot longer. Also, don't store your bags in a compression bag. Make sure you spread them out, hang them, or store them in the larger stuff sack. I say to make sure that you transport it in a dry bag because, let's be honest, things are going to get wet on the way in. You may fall in a river during a river crossing, your bladder may leak, a water bottle may leak. Something is going to get wet in your pack. Your sweat will work its way through it. So I'd really look at these Sea to Summit dry bags, certainly if you're going to go with a down bag. But even with a synthetic bag. A wet bag of any kind is not a great way to sleep. So don't forget that a sleeping bag is a great way to get warm too. So the next time you're out in the middle of nowhere and you start getting cold, but you really don't know what you're going to do next, set up a camp, pitch a tent, or better yet, pull your sleeping bag out, stop, get in it, and wrap yourself up in an emergency blanket or a tarp. You'll be warm in no time. Plus, it'll give you a chance to think about what your next step is while you're warm, rather than panicking and freezing. We all know those don't make a good combination for smart choices. At 1 pound 15 ounces, this bag is filled with 800 fill down. Its waterproof, breathable, ripstop nylon shell keeps water from getting to the down, at least in theory. And that makes for some warm nights and warm mornings, even if you're in a tent with condensation issues. I can attest to the rating of 19 degrees is accurate. In fact, one morning I woke up with snow on the tent, and the temperature had clearly reached well into the lower teens, and I slept just fine. Of course, a lot of whether the bag works for you will depend on not the bag's rating so much, but whether you're a warm sleeper or a cold sleeper. Remember, a layer of clothes does a lot to add warmth to inside of the sleeping bag. Think socks and a beanie. Well, and when there's condensation, which is very difficult to avoid in a single wall shelter, it beads off of the bag amazingly well due to the ripstop nylon waterproof coating on this. I haven't had this bag go flat yet, and that's just to say, It might not, but it certainly hasn't yet. REI makes a newer version of this bag, but it only uses 700 fill down instead of 800. But it's also 2 ounces lighter than this, weighing in at just 1 pound 13 ounces. And it sells at REI for $299. It's definitely worth a look if you're in the market for a good down bag. If you're in the market for a synthetic bag, we'll touch more on those in a little bit. So looking forward to the future, I'm seriously contemplating getting a slick bag from Kifaru for several reasons. One, I'd like to ditch my bivvy and just use a pad and a tarp, but that's not really a good idea with a down bag. Plus, some people can't do that because they can't stand the idea of not having a shelter completely enclose them from bugs that could be crawling around. To me, I don't know if that's that big of a deal. They're pretty bomb-proof, the slick bags are, and they're synthetic, so you don't have to worry about the down as much. And really, they're not that much more than this bag, cost-wise. I think the 20-degree Kifaru slick bag is only about $340, depending on which shell you get. I'm also interested in how these new Kuyi bags do, especially with a DWR coated shell, and 850 plus quicks down, treated down, goose down fill. But truthfully, that's a $600 bag on the low end, when what I have here is half that, and it's just 0.03 ounces heavier. The new one's even lighter. So, to go a completely different route, some of my backpacking buddies are using quilts. I've heard great things about these, but I'll be honest with you, I can't say I've ever used one. Well, I guess the quilt on my bed is down, but I don't think that counts. How about you guys? What are you running? What questions do you have about sleeping bags? What have you found that works? What have you found that doesn't work? Just some questions to ponder. So, that's it. Be sure to subscribe so you get notifications of future videos from this channel. Check out the Facebook page, Colorado Hunter Hiker, all one word. And any questions or comments, please just let me know, and I'll get back with you. Thanks, guys and gals. Have a great day.